The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love. Like taking those perfect New Year, New You portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
It's the best way to stay connected to everyone you'll heart most in 2019. So get ready to fall in love with iPhone XR on T-Mobile, the most loved in wireless. Call 1-800-T-Mobile to learn more or visit a store today.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along. Well, we flew through Cincinnati and we're all...
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us as we are plodding along. Joined now by our good friend of the show, Steve Risley, former member of the 81 National Championship team for Indiana. What a great year that was. Steve, thank you, sir, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Love being here. It's time to dance, baby. Let's get going this morning.
It is not a lot of dancing, Indiana in the NIT, but that bracket is pretty much filled now with all the first-round games have been played. And one of the things I noticed I was talking about earlier is Indiana's bracket, side of the bracket, is the only one that all four teams that are remaining are Power 5 teams. Indiana takes it on Arkansas on Saturday in a rematch there at noon. But on the other side, you got Wichita State and Clemson in that bracket as well. But Arkansas is going to be a pretty good test for this team, Steve. I mean, they beat them, obviously, the first time around, but they did so by playing really aggressively and being very active around the rim.
Jim, I think we proved about midway through the season that pretty much everybody was a very interesting test for us. Losing 11 of 12 games, I'd say everybody we played was an interesting test for us. So yeah, but this is a game that Arkansas, that we had an opportunity to win that game. It was our first road game, really a significant road game early in November. I think we played them sometime around then. We missed the tip in, 2 or 3 inch tip in at the buzzer. It happens, but yeah, everybody improves, and I hope we've improved as much as everybody else, because that's a team that can come into Assembly Hall and pound the snot out of you real quick if you're not paying attention to them. They're a very athletic basketball team.
Yeah, and I was talking earlier. They're a Power 5 team. They play in the SEC. They've been to Rupp Arena. They've been to Bowling Arena in Tennessee. They've been in front of these big crowds or these famous places and playing these big time teams. So they're not going to come in and be all in awe because they're in Assembly Hall. And they just went on the road at Providence without their best player and handily beat the Friars 84-72. So they're playing well right now, and you know that they're going to come in and wanting to show that first game, that first win was not a fluke. So they're going to give Indiana everything that they can.
Well, that's true. And they're not going to be intimidated by Assembly Hall, which I think St. Francis probably in the end got a little intimidated by Assembly Hall, which will intimidate a lot of teams. You spend your life in there. I know you do. So you know how intimidating that place could be. They come in, they're not going to be intimidated, and they're going to play hard. They're a very athletic team. They're going to get after it. And if we get up, we were talking about this on our show the other day, if Indiana gets off to another slow start like they did against St. Francis, we may not be able to recover against this team. I mean, because they're not going to lay down. It's a basketball team playing in the SEC, playing against some top talent that they smell blood, they'll go get it. So it's imperative that Indiana gets off to a great start Saturday. I think they play at noon Eastern time. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be
9 o'clock my time. 9 o'clock my time. Yeah, I just wake up, go do my stuff I got to do, and then come back and lay in bed and watch the game in bed in Los Angeles. So
you got 87 degree weather. You got 80 degree weather.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about any. There's nothing you can say that anybody's going to care about the wine. You get to complain about nothing. Nothing.
I slept with my windows open last night, and everything. It's all fine. We've already had the dogs out for a walk this morning. It's 4:30 in the morning here, 4:40 in the morning.
I hope you catch.
We've already had the dogs out for a walk, and we're enjoying life. So there you go. But yeah, But here's the other thing too. I would say, Indiana. First off, the name, and you know this, Jim. Indiana has a bullseye on its back anyway, just because it's Indiana. You know that. I mean, because of the 5 national championship banners hanging there, the one big NIT banner that's hanging there, and all the Big Ten championships, and Bob Knight, and all the camaraderie and hoopla that goes with it. When they're seeded number 1, the bullseye gets bigger. So everybody wants to beat the number 1 seed. So Indiana's got to step their game up and be more consistent. I thought they played well in the second half of the game against St. Francis, but they've now got to do that for 40 minutes here. Because this is NIT is a real great opportunity for this basketball team to learn how to win tournaments. And we talked about this on our shows. That's
a great point.
79. Yeah, in 79, we were not happy about having to go play in the NIT because Michigan State and Iowa were the teams that went to the NCAA in 79 when we won the NIT. But Knight talked to us about it and had resolve and said, guys, let's go learn something from this. Let's just go learn. Let's go. And we played our first game at Texas Tech, actually. We didn't even play a home game our first game in the NIT in 79. We played at Texas Tech.
How ironic is that?
Yeah, how ironic is that? Yeah. And then we won that game. And we went down there with kind of a blasé attitude, like, yeah, I don't care. It's the NIT. Let's go down here and have a good time. It's one last trip on the team, one last meal ticket money or whatever we get, per diem, and go down. And then we won. And then we came back to Assembly Hall and played our next 2 games at Assembly Hall. And we started to realize that we can make something of this. And then the dream became to get to Madison Square Garden, because the end point for this team should be, if you've never got the chance to play in Madison Square Garden, you missed it, because that's Mecca. Madison Square Garden is Mecca for basketball. I mean, it's bigger than Pauley Pavilion.
I probably
I'm 30 miles away from Pauley Pavilion. And we talk about Pauley Pavilion all the time in UCLA, but when Alfred was there, I was going to practice and games all the time. But it's Mecca. So we went there, and let's win this thing. And then we realized this is a great, tremendous learning opportunity for this basketball team. And I've heard a lot of people say, blow it off, don't do it. NIT's worthless. It's not worthless. It's a learning opportunity, because here's what happened. In 79, we won the NIT. We learned how to win tournament basketball games. We learned how to win championships. 24 months later, we hang a banner. We hang banner number 4. IU's got to look at it that way. And all the fans that follow you and follow us and follow this basketball team need to understand, 24 months after we won the NIT, we hung a banner because we took this opportunity to learn how to play in tournaments, how to win championships, how to do things. And it was at a lesser expense than trying to do it in the dance. So this actually is probably a better opportunity than Indiana being in the dance starting today, because I don't know how far they'd have gotten, truthfully.
That's a great point, Steve. It really is. I mean, this team has had a season that has been a lot of negatives to it, but, man, they can really put a positive stamp on it, and I didn't even look at it in that way that you just presented it, which really puts a bow on it. They can really, really help themselves for next season. The guys that are going to be there, the Rob Finishes, the Jake Forsters, all those guys that are coming back, they can really help themselves for next year.
I mean, this is a great opportunity, and I heard the announcers in the game against St. Francis talk about Devontae Green. To me, Devontae Green is the key to this basketball team. We know what we can get out of everybody else. Devontae is the.
You've been on his side all year long. I got to say, Steve Risley has been a Devontae Green supporter all year, and I was like, man, you're nuts. But these last 18 games, you're right. He has been the man.
Well, the thing about Devontae Green is what you got to work with him on is just getting him to do it every night. That's all. He's one of the most talented basketball players on his team. He just is kind of all over the map. Is like, am I going to show up or am I not? And, Danny Dockage, friends of both of us, said, if you just could teach him to do it every night, this team would change his persona immediately. And we've seen it the last 4 or 5 games. Devontae has stepped up and played good basketball, incredible basketball, taking shots, made shots, limited his turnovers. Let's see, last game he had what? He had, 2 turnovers?
Yeah, he's another good game.
2 turnovers, yeah.
Another
he played
solid
36
game.
minutes. Yeah, 36 minutes has, 2 turnovers. So if we can get him to do that every night, we're going to become very unbeatable very fast. But he is the key, and he's the what I would call, and I don't want to compare him to this, but he's the Isaiah Thomas of this basketball team. He's no Isaiah Thomas. There will never be another Isaiah Thomas. But he has that mentality of he has the vocal cords, the ability, the willingness to take chances. And I don't care about making turnovers if they're good turnovers. And Knight never cared about making turnovers if they were good turnovers. It's stupid turnovers that kill you. Trying to make something happen and it not working, Coach Knight never got upset about. He got upset about when it was just a really stupid thing. Now, he's still doing some of that, but the more you play him and the more you make him confident that he's not going to get pulled for making those mistakes, the more consistent this young man is going to get for this basketball program.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Devontae Green, his brother plays in the NBA. He comes from a talented family. He is a talented athlete. He kind of had reminded me of Troy Williams or James Blackman a little bit. They had played, you could see the talent, but they just didn't have the reins on it, didn't have it in control. And he seems to, after the suspension, he seems to have finally, I hate to say, but quote-unquote, bought in to what he needs to do, because man, he's been the glue guy here of late. He really has. He's been the only guy. He's been the best shooter on this team from behind the arc. I think he's hitting 43% in his last 18 games from behind, 19 games from behind the three-point line, and Indiana desperately needs that.
He's the catalyst. I mean, like I said, we know we're going to get out of Justice Smith. We know we're going to get out of Morgan. We know Finney's playing better. He's getting over his concussion, which I think took a lot longer to heal than all of us gave him a chance to do. Deron Davis is stepping up. Romeo will be back. I don't know if he's going to play Saturday or not. I think you were at the press conference. I know our reporter, Cole Hanna, was there and said it was questionable whether he would play Saturday or not. But
well, see, they didn't know. At that time, they didn't know it was Saturday. Everybody was thinking the game was going to be Thursday. Right. So the fact that it is Saturday, I think is going to make a much better chance for him to play.
Right. Yeah, but Devontae is the catalyst for this basketball team right now. As he goes for the rest of this year, I think you'll find how IU goes. And he has the ability to carry this team to Madison Square Garden. Then, you get in the Final Four, and then whatever happens, happens. So we got there in 81, and we were the lowest-ranked team, I think, of all three there. It was LSU. Virginia had Ralph Sampson. Of course, North Carolina had Perkins, Worthy, and Al Wood. 3 All-Americans in their front court, and we had Isaiah and a bunch of slow, gumpy white guys, and we had Ray and Landon too. So I shouldn't say that. We had Ray and Landon too, which were pretty damn good basketball players.
Now you guys, the season you won the national championship. You all got off to a slow start, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but you guys were able to really turn it around.
The difference there is we had Coach Knight, who is arguably, I think, the best bench coach I've ever seen in my life, who can take a timeout and take 60 seconds or 35 seconds, whatever timeout you want, and can alter the course of a game with one timeout. And here's the factor. Here's what I think the difference is between what's happening now. What I don't see on the bench from the coaches is when we were playing in 81 or 78, 81, whatever, we had assistant coaches that were coaching players. Okay, follow me. Like we had Joby Wright, we had Jimmy Cruz, we had Jerry Gimbelstaub, we had Royce Waltman. We had assistant coaches, and those coaches coached the players in the game. Okay, so I had Joby Wright on my tail every minute I was in the game. He was just yelling at me and telling me to get in the position, get in the passing lanes, get in denial, get post behind him, post in front of him. And then Knight was coaching the game. And I mean, and I never heard Knight really, except at a timeout, because Knight was working on the referees, he was working on the strategy, and then but the coaches, you get wore out listening to the assistant coaches yell at you. And they were like not yelling at you. They were guiding you and directing you, and they were watching and telling you where to be. They were helping you. They were an extra set of eyes. They were an extra set of eyes for you because they'd say, Risley. Arnett Hall is right behind you. Get back up. He's 5 feet away. Go drop back. And you thank you, coach. Thank you. I didn't know he was there because I'm trying to watch the ball because all you want to do is focus on the basketball and not focus on where you're supposed to be. I don't see this out of this coaching staff. I maybe it happens. I don't know. But I don't see that happening out of this staff. And I think there's plenty of missed opportunities here where we're not focused on everybody doing their individual part on the court. Now, I don't know if the rules have changed because I know all 5 coaches were standing up the whole time when I played. They were all standing up yelling at somebody. And we were all just focused on we knew voices. And we didn't watch them. We just heard voices. You just did what you had to do. And they told you what you had to do. And then at halftime, we didn't do what we had to do. Coach told us that we didn't do what we had to do.
Talking with Steve Risley.
I'd like to see more of that out of these guys.
We're talking with Steve Risley, member of the 81 National Championship team for Indiana. Also, you hear me talk about the growingtruth.net each day where you can find this. You can also find Steve there. Steve, along with Colin Hartman, with their show, their podcast after the game, and then also Survive in Advance. But go to the growingtruth.net and all kinds of programming there. But Colin Hartman and Steve do a podcast each game as well, so you make sure you check that out. But one of the things we talk a lot off the air as well, me and Steve, and one of the things you were talking about some of this stuff the other day, I was thinking that Coach Knight just had a different way of seeing games unfold. Of seeing what was going on and what was happening and how to rectify that. Like Archie's still a young guy. He's got a lot to learn. I think he'd be the first person to tell you that. He's learning a lot now. He's went from the mid-major from the frying pan to the fire in the Big Ten on their best G season they've had in lots of years. So, but Coach Knight just seemed to have an uncanny way of seeing exactly what the hell was going on.
Okay, well, and here's my theory on that. Right now, and God bless Archie Miller, I think he's the coach of the future of this program, and I hope he's here for 30 years. I hope I get buried with Archie Miller still being our basketball coach. I think he's a great young guy, but he's on a learning curve like everybody else right now, and he's trying to figure it out. He doesn't have his own system in place yet. It's going to take 2 to 3 to 4 years to get his system in place. Everybody be patient. We're seeing an improvement in this basketball team right now. I would love to have known what was said in the locker room at halftime of St. Francis because something was said that took that team that shot. What did we shoot? We shot. What was the first half? We shot.
They put 55 points on the board. I know.
Yeah, we put 65, and so something was said. Now I can tell you what Coach Knight would have done in a game like that. And Coach Knight would have said. This actually happened to us more than one time, I'm sure. And I'm 60, so it's hard for me to remember everything in my life anymore. But he would just come in at halftime. We would sit down, and we would all be sweating and dripping and wet. And we just walk and sit down. And he'd walk in a minute after we sat down and say, "Get out of here! Just go out and shoot." So I can't even tell you guys anything. There's nothing I can say that you guys either want to go play or don't go play. Go sit on the bench. Go out. And we literally, when you get a 15-minute halftime break. So you intrepid reporters can go to the snack bar and get your free food and everything. He would just say, "Just get out of here. I'm not even gonna say a word to you. Just go." And that was the most embarrassing thing in the world because there's 13 and a half minutes to go until the second half starts, and you're sitting on the bench out there like we should only be coming out like with 2 or 3 minutes to go, so we look kind of cool and things like that. But that's the motivation he is. So right now. I think Archie is still in a little bit of reactive mode. He's learning, like you said, from a mid-major to a Power 5 conference. It's a little different. Knight was always proactive. Knight, there was a method to Knight's madness all the time. He always had a strategy and a plan for why things were going to happen, and he was always 2 steps ahead of the referees. He was 2 steps ahead of his opponent's coach. He anticipated rather than reacting, and
that's what
he was proactive.
Great.
So maybe you're
That's
not
what made
going to
him
find
great.
another Bob Knight. That's the thing that Hoosier fans need to get over. You're not going to find another Bob Knight. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
Get over it.
Exactly.
You know,
Make sure you catch
build a
Steve.
statue.
That's
You know,
right. Build
a statue. Do what you got to
statue,
do and
build it tall.
let it go. But Art
Steve?
Eagler's the guy.
Thanks for joining us, brother. Catch him on thegruelingtruth.net. Steve Risley and Colin Hartman. Appreciate you, brother.
I'm going back to bed. It's 4:30 in Los Angeles.
Have a great day.
And that was Steve Risley. Appreciate him joining us on yesterday's program. We will have more loaded show for you all today, as we will have Sammy Jacobs as well as Drew Davis and Todd Leary. Justin Soakland joins as well. So join us right back here after this break. We'll have more Indiana Sports Beat coming right back.
Friday, I'm free again. I got my motor running for a wild weekend. It's Friday, I'm out of control.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Grateful to have him here. Jack, how's your day going?
Going well. A little bit earlier for me than what I'm used to, but having fun.
Justin Kalen, high top crew.
That's right.
Box as always, of course. Big show on tap today. We've got Sammy Jacobs, and I think Sammy's ready with us now, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Cool. Sammy, how you doing, my friend, from Hoosier Huddle?
It is the last day before spring break, so I am a happy camper.
That's always a good thing. Big spring break plans?
Probably going to head down to IU, watch some practice, catch up on some sleep, do some lesson plans, and get ready for the final push until June.
That's exactly what I was thinking I would be doing. Just kidding. Yeah, big weekend coming up. A lot going on at Indiana this weekend. Of course, spring football is underway. Practice will be going on. We got basketball going on, all kinds of things. But spring football resumed. They had a break. Speaking of spring break, Indiana had theirs last week during the middle of spring ball, so they got to take a week off. It's kind of something unique. Not only Indiana does it, but not everybody does it that way. But from what I understand, it gives them a unique experience to run some things, then go back and look at everything on film before they go back and resume practice.
Yeah, it gives you a chance for things to soak in a little bit, and it eases up on the physicality and getting beat up and injuries. If guys are nicked up in the first couple weeks of spring ball, it gives you a chance, 7 to 10 days to get healthy and get back on the practice field.
If you can think of a question, point at me and I'll let you. And then, of course, Indiana is implementing a new offense with Kalen DeBoer. You got a new offensive coordinator, a lot of exciting things going on, new quarterbacks in the fold, a great quarterback room, a lot of excitement around this team coming up.
Yeah, it's one of the things to watch this spring and into fall practice is the quarterback competition and, how the offense is adjusting to Coach DeBoer's new scheme and how the team's responding.
Right, and then, of course, with those new any word on Jack Tuttle, a big word of waiting for his clearance from the NCAA on whether or not he's going to be eligible to play or not. He was a redshirt freshman out at Utah last year. He didn't play, of course, transferred to Indiana through the transfer portal. But last I had not heard that he had been cleared yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. We'll hear when we hear. We're dealing with the NCAA organization who moves at their speed, and they just cleared Tate Martell, who transferred to Miami from Ohio State. So, maybe he's in the taxi line, so to speak, to get cleared.
Yeah, let's hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. Now, as the weekend rolls around, I know they had their early morning practice yesterday. Don't they have on Thursday the 5:30 practice? This is for Indiana.
Yeah, the early practice yesterday, practice tomorrow, and then several practices next week. I believe it's they're rolling through spring ball, getting ready for that spring game on April 12th.
And then what are you expecting to see this weekend, Sammy?
Probably not much since the closed practice for the NIT. So we'll see. Tom Allen, in his interview yesterday with IU Hoosiers, mentioned that they might be doing a little scrimmage work this weekend, and it's a chance to see. If I was down there, it's a chance to see them go live and get a little bit of a feel for the physicality of this team.
And talking about the physicality, I saw strength and conditioning coach. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. I can see his face walk by as the mountain of the man. But last year they really implemented the new, I don't want to call it a new plan, but where they really were emphasizing some things scientifically, and they felt that they made some great strides. But of course, that's the first year, so it's going to take a while to get that fully regimented in. And, of course, this year they said that the numbers seem to be increasingly growing, trying to get them to where these other big-time programs are on a consistent basis from a strength and conditioning sense.
Yeah, Coach David Ballou and Dr. Ray have done a very good job, and they've started to focus on now acceleration. And once you implement the plan, overall, then you could see, after year one, okay, this is what worked well, this didn't work well, this is what we have to focus on and improving, and they've narrowed it down to acceleration, which is huge in football. And, everybody last year was gaga over these numbers of, he could run 23 miles an hour, but in football, it's all about how long does it take you to get there, because if it takes you more than 7 steps, well, you might be tackled by that. And if you go, the faster you get to your top speed, the better off you are.
There was a lot of talk, a lot of excitement last year about Ronnie Walker, Reese Taylor, Stevie Scott, freshman. Of course, Scott had such a big year. What news and notes about the development of those guys head into their sophomore season has come out?
That's our intern,
Reese
Jack
now
Grossman.
moved to defense, and that's where he wants to play. And as Kevin Wilson used to say, what's best for the player on where he wants to play is probably best for the team. And so, he's moved over to defense. Ronnie Walker is, it's another year in the system. Stevie Scott's looked solid when I was down there a couple weeks ago. And then you have a couple freshmen who are going to come in and play a big role in that running back room as well, and Samson James and Ivory Winters.
And not that we needed to be reminded, but man, you really get a complete and true sense of how great of an athlete Reese Taylor is, with what he has already done in such a young career at Indiana, the multiple positions that he's played, the needs that come up, and they can move him. If they need to move him to quarterback, they did. Now move into defense. Just a remarkable athlete.
Yeah, he never played defense in high school, and for him to come in last year and play on defense in the opener spoke volumes about how talented of an athlete he is and how hard he works, and that they trusted him enough to go out there on opening night and give them some important reps.
Sammy, I thank you, brother. I will maybe see you out there this week. And I hope you have a good one and a great start to your spring break.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
You bet, brother. Have a good one. Sammy Jacobs from HoosierHuddle.com. Make sure you check out that free IU content, HoosierHuddle.com, and that's Sammy Jacobs joining us as he does each week. We've got a lot coming up on the program today, a packed show. Justin Soakland will be on. We're going to talk a little high school basketball. The state championships are this weekend. Drew Davis will be with us. We've got some recruiting news that you're going to hear about for IU. And also, the great Todd Leary joins us as he does each week. Stay tuned. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your
can you hear
family.
this music?
Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue. 812-246-3368.
Yes, cool.
That's Reynolds
Yes,
Family
sir.
Dentistry. 812-246-3368.
Can you hear that music?
I should be able to. We got big issues to handle.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Welcome back to Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this Friday. A great way to end your week. Jim Coyle with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Also joined by our intern, Jack Grossman from Indiana.
How you guys doing?
Good morning to Jack. Hope everybody's having a great day and ready for the weekend. Great program today. Of course, Todd Leary's with us as always. Drew Davis will be coming up in the next hour. We'll talk some recruiting with him. Justin Soakland, we got a little high school basketball. The Indiana State Championships are this weekend in Indianapolis at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Indiana on the hardwood Saturday at noon in the NIT as they take on the Arkansas Razorbacks in a rematch with that SEC team. They lost 73-72 in Fayetteville, what seems like years ago, but it was 4 months ago last year. They come in on a roll, though. They went to Providence, winning on the road 84-72 without their top player. So it's going to be quite a ball game.
Yeah.
Jack, have you been able to keep up with what's going on with the team?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Daniel Gafford, again, for Arkansas, is going to be projected a first-round pick in the NBA draft. He's sitting out just for precautionary reasons. But the big thing where Indiana has to take advantage of, Arkansas is a very poor defensive rebounding team. They're 350th in the country in that stat. Taking out Gafford, a 6'10", really long, lanky guy, only compounds that matter. Indiana, as we know, not a great shooting team. If they're able to get 40% of their misses, be able to crash the offensive glass and own the boards, I think that'll really help them come Saturday, because Arkansas is really not a good rebounding team.
Yeah, and actually the shooting woes of Indiana are kind of ironic because they're actually the number one team in the country from a field goal shooting standpoint in non-conference games. And those games include the games against Louisville, Duke, Marquette, all those non-conference games. They're number one in the U.S. in field goal shooting. That includes the 36% from behind the arc. Hopefully they can keep that going. That includes the St. Francis game. Saw Marquette got beat yesterday by Murray State. I picked that on my board, man. I was like, yeah, I nailed that one. Very, very happy about that. All the tournaments are underway. We're not going to ignore the NCAA tournament. Lots of games yesterday. Before I get going too far, though, make sure you like or follow us on Facebook. If you don't get to catch us live on Big X Sports Radio 1450 96.1 WXVW or on REF, the Ref 97.7 in Evansville, you can find us on any place you find a podcast: iTunes, Apple Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play. You can find us daily on thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, or at thegruelingtruth.net. You can follow me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB, as always. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Let us know thoughts, questions, anything you have for the guests coming up today. Todd Leary's on, Drew Davis is on, Justin Soklin is on with us as well, and we've got Jack Grossman, our intern from IU, here with us as well. Hey, make sure you hit RadioTroy.com if you're in the Richmond area. They do a great job supporting high school and local sports there and supporting the show as well. So RadioTroy.com does a great job over in Richmond. Check those guys out. But a lot coming up this weekend. Indiana, as I said, round 2 of the NIT as they're trying to get to New York to extend their season and get some valuable experience for these guys that will be coming back, and more importantly, drive the culture that Archie is trying to drive. It's been a slow process for some of these guys to buy in, and I think nothing is more exemplifies that more than Devontae Green. Devontae Green is someone who the fans had a love-hate relationship with, I'd say the bit. And you know what? You're a student, Jack. What were the feelings early in the season?
I would call it more of a hate-love relationship a lot of the time, but Devontae Green's playing his best basketball of the year. Obviously, the Ohio State game's what everyone thinks of, but he was really a key cog in the 4-game winning streak to end the regular season as well. They don't win the Michigan State game. He hit 3 crucial 3-pointers in the second Michigan State game, each time and a Michigan State 6-0 or greater run, and the third one sparked Indiana 7-0 run to come back and win the game. So he's a guy that seems to have figured things out. It's a little hard to say because it's still only a 4 or 5 game stretch. So can he continue that into 20, 25 games next year? That's a little bit of a question mark because he's been so streaky at times. But if they can get him on board, he might be your go-to scorer next season to go along with Rob Fantasy distributing the ball, Trey Jackson Davis coming in, and of course get Jerome Hunter back out, Durham also contributing.
And at the very least, it looks to have an option that Indiana did not have this year. They did not have that third option when they had Romeo Langford going, when they had Juwan Morgan going. Never had a consistent third option, and you've got to have that. I mean, these teams, if you look at these elite teams down low, they've got not one good one guy down low. They all have 2. Xavier Tillman and Nick Ward from Michigan State. Man, what a group that they make. Wow. But you've got to have those the set of guys down there to play off each other, and Indiana has not had that this year. Deron Davis has tried to do that. He started to come on a little bit, getting over his health, and then it seems like it's kind of caught up to him again. So they have not had any consistency down there. Justin Smith has definitely not been consistent to help Juwan Morgan, and I'll be honest with you, that's been an issue for this team is Justin Smith's inconsistency. He's had games where obviously he played out of his mind against Michigan State, but then there's games where they're just the opposite. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and Green really, just big picture again, the fact that he can stretch the floor and hit threes is such a big key for them because that's been the struggle here. You talk about 36% out of conference from three. Indiana just hovering around 30 in Big Ten play is one of the sole reasons why they didn't make the tournament because they just couldn't hit enough shots to win games a lot of times. But Justin Smith's going to need a big jump. Al Durham needs to be more consistent also. If he can play the way he has at times this year, he had a stretch where he had 6 consecutive double-figure games, but then he follows it up with 5 or 6 straight with 5 points or less. So if he can find a groove also, Indiana could have a little bit more offensive firepower. Especially the big thing for next season of Indiana is you're not going to have the star power in Langford more than likely and Juwan Morgan, but can you have a really balanced attack? And if they do that, then maybe they can make it into the NCAA tournament despite losing their 2 best players. But I like Green and Finney playing together because Green's more of a scoring guard. He's not a natural point guard. And I think Archie's kind of figured it out, play him all ball more, get him in situations where he can catch and shoot, or get him on the wing running a high ball screen after a couple of reversals to where he's not facing a set defense, and let Finney be the guy that's the main facilitator. And I think that works out better for the Indiana offense.
I couldn't agree more, Jack. Devontae has just excelled in this last half of the season. Post the suspension, I think that may have also helped gather his thoughts, so to speak. But you're right. I mean, he has done such a much better job in playing his natural position, which it is. And it wasn't fair to him to kind of put him in that and expect him to excel as a point guard there. But this team is slowly reminding me of the women's team, where last year they saw their greatest player ever, Tyra Buss, along with having Amanda Cahill with her. But the best that they could do was go to the NIT. And then, of course, they won the NIT. But they lose their best player ever out of the program, and this year they are better. They're a better team now. And it's not a knock on Tyra. It's just that Allie Patberg wasn't available last year, for one thing, and neither was Bree Wise. So having them available makes a difference. But they have a very, very balanced attack. And I see them last year as similar to this Indiana team. You had Tyra, and the men's team had Romeo. They had Amanda Cahill. They had Juwan Morgan. That was kind of it. And that's kind of how it's been. Indiana's been too streaky to provide a third option behind Romeo and Juwan. And last year, the women's team didn't really have that. This year, the women's team, who are you going to get it from? Who knows? What night is it? Jalen Penn? Is it Grace Berger? Is it Bindu Yaney? Is it Allie Patberg? Is it Bree Wise? Who in the world is it going to be on a particular night?
I do see the comparison a little bit, but the men's team doesn't have an Allie Patberg. Is kind of where it was that Rob Finney could eventually become that, but I don't see anyone that's going to step in and average 17-7 the way Allie Patberg has for Indiana this year. Brenna Wise has been so good for me on the arc also. But you saw with the women's team this year where they struggled and went onto the bubble and almost missed the NCAA tournament was a lot of it was because of the 3.5-4 game stretch that Patberg missed because of a shoulder injury in late February. You do have other pieces, Jalen Penn scoring in double figures in 20 straight games. Brenna Wise, as you mentioned, has been great. Bindu Yaney is one of the best defensive players in the Big Ten on ball. Well, which is fair to say. She's played some great defense this year. But I don't know if the men's team quite has that amount of talent that the women's team has. Because Terry Morton's done a great job of rounding that team into form, adding another 5-star in Grace Berger, having one already in Jalen Penn. I see the comparison, but I don't know if I'm bought in enough on some of the players on the men's team to say they'll be able to make a similar jump to what the women's have done this year.
We can only hope. NCAA tournament's underway also, beside the NIT, obviously. A lot of great games yesterday, man. some upsets, and not this one in particular, but Minnesota knocking off Louisville, Richard Pitino out of the Big Ten. A lot being said because of that matchup. The NCAA, of course, they never pay attention to matchups. They just accidentally place Richard Pitino against Louisville. But they come out with an 86-76 win, so a big win for them. And another big game I watched was LSU and Yale. A lot of people were thinking Yale was going to pull the upset because of all what's going on with LSU. Their coach obviously is on the sidelines after being caught on tape making a what was the exact words? Big ass offer?
Yes.
I think that, yeah. So, but they got their number one player back. He met with the NCAA, and so they have their players. And let me tell you, that team they're going to be a tough out, man. If they get their stuff back together from not having their coach, and Yale was a tough opponent yesterday. The only reason that LSU was able to win is because Yale could not hit from outside. They normally are pretty good from behind the arc. Man, they couldn't hit water from a boat yesterday. They were like 4 for 1,000, it seemed like.
Yeah, they really out from behind the arc. One of my roommates told me that we were watching that game. At one point, he just turns to me after Naz Reid just grabbed a rebound over 2 guys. He said, I don't care if we don't have a coach. If a guy that's that much taller and better than everyone else, it doesn't really matter. But LSU's going to have an interesting round of 32 matchup because they will be playing Maryland. Maryland's one of the few teams in the country that has that size and athleticism to match the Tigers with Bruno Fernando, Jalen Smith inside, Anthony Cowan, very talented on the outside. They had to outlast Belmont yesterday in what I think was the best game of the day. They won that game by 1. Belmont had a shot to win, and at the end, they went with a backdoor play. Ironically, the same backdoor play they ran against UCLA when they won up in Westwood earlier in the season. But Daryl Morcell did some advanced scouting. He did a phenomenal job of reading the back cut, denying it, and getting the ball, forcing a turnover, and winning the game for the Terps. You're up that Louisville-Minnesota matchup, though, Jim. I was crushed when Rick Pitino was not there, and I found out he had a game in Greece yesterday because I needed him sitting. And I grew up a Louisville fan, so I as much as I know Rick Pitino's a cheater, Rick Pitino probably knew what happened there. There's still a part of just the young, innocent Jack, 4 years old, that misses Rick Pitino, and I wanted him to be there in a Minnesota pull over with that gold scarf, and I would have just loved to see what his reaction would be. Louisville had a really good year. Chris Max did great things with that program. They overachieved. The fact that he made the tournament at all is great, but obviously it ended for a sour note for them.
Yeah, I'm sure that they all enjoyed that, but a lot of great games yesterday, man. A lot of close ones. Auburn barely gets by New Mexico State 78-77. Florida State wins over Vermont 76-69. Just looking at some of the great ones. Maryland out of the Big Ten barely gets by Belmont 79-77. Another great game. Everything wasn't like that, but they were a ton of them that were. So looking forward to that continuing. Kentucky had no problem with Abilene Christian, though. 79-44. Gonzaga easily by Fairleigh Dickinson 87-49. But Villanova and St. Mary's, that was another great game. Villanova, defending national champion, winners of 2 out of 3 last national championships back in the NCAA tournament. They beat St. Mary's 61-57. Another ironic because Evan Fitzner would have been playing in the NCAA tournament last night against Villanova had he not transferred to IU. So just a little irony there. Wofford, little sweethearts. They win big, 84-68 over Seton Hall. I guess you got to look out for that team. Michigan gets their stretch underway. They're 74-55 as well. And I'm trying to look at Baylor and Syracuse. Luckily, late yesterday, that the deal came out where their Syracuse have not lost their point guard. So I rushed to the computer and pull up my brackets and hurry up and change it to Baylor. I'm like, I'm going with Baylor. Well, Baylor wins that game, 78-69. So good job on me. Purdue also on the winning side last night. They beat Old Dominion 61-48. So that wraps up yesterday's action. More coming up today. Lots of big games. Some of the favorites. Tennessee's number 2 seed. They're playing today. Virginia's playing today. Everybody plays today actually, but we'll look forward to seeing all those as well coming up. But coming up on the show, don't forget, we've got Todd Leary joining us Drew Davis is going to join us. We're going to talk some recruiting news for IU, and Justin Soklin is going to join us as well. The Indiana State Championships are Saturday. It kind of sucks because the state finals are going on now. Indiana has a game in Bloomington at noon. But, folks, if you're interested in going to the 3 or 4A state championship, you can go to both the IU game and the 3 and 4A because there's plenty of time in between. I think the 3A starts at 6 maybe, and the IU game is at noon at Assembly Hall Eastern Time, which, of course, you can catch right here. You don't have to turn the dial a bit. You can catch Don Fisher on the call. The pregame starts an hour before that, so it's noon tip Eastern Time. And then pregame starts an hour before that, 11, and that's Eastern. If you're on Central Time, just adjust accordingly. But make sure you keep it right here for Don Fisher on the call of that. Todd Leary coming up on the program, as I said. Drew Davis as well. Make sure you get your comments and questions in on the text line, 812-269-6367. Like or follow us on Facebook. Find the show podcast anywhere that you'll find a podcast. But make sure you do that. Take care of our sponsors that take care of us and take care of you and bring all this to you. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville does a great job. The food is phenomenal, of course. I love doing our shows there and having lunch. I'm just thinking about that gets me hungry. And, of course, our friends at Reynolds Family Dentistry, serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors J and Roger Reynolds take care of your family. And John Sweetland. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Sanitation, serving Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. We got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Stay with us. We're coming right back after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thank you for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride on this Friday as we head into the weekend. Jim Coyle with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Joined in studio by our intern, Jack Grossman from Indiana. On the program today, it's a big one as always. Todd Leary joins us. Drew Davis from Pigs.com. We're going to talk some recruiting, and Justin Soklin. We'll talk in high school basketball because the state championships are this weekend as well. Lots to get to. Indiana on the hardwood as well. Before we do that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 22nd day of March 2019. As you know, the NCAA tournament started yesterday, and the Big Ten went a perfect 5-0. IU women's basketball gets their turn to dance as they take on Texas tonight at 7 o'clock. Indiana men's basketball set to take on Arkansas tomorrow at noon in the second round of the NIT. And Indiana baseball set to open Big Ten play as they welcome in Iowa for a weekend series. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 22nd day of March 2019. For more information, be sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
And welcome back. And again, thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. And we're joined early by Justin Soklin. Justin, how are you, sir?
Doing good, Jim. How are you this morning?
Great, man. Another great year of Indiana high school basketball as it's coming down to a close. But another phenomenal year. And to be honest with you, an exceptional year talent-wise. A lot of great players out there, man.
Yeah, and they'll be showcased on Saturday at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in the state finals. Always a great day at the state finals, boys and girls basketball, and there are some exceptional teams and some amazing individuals that'll be on display in the 4 games on Saturday.
Now, you have your own website that you run where everybody can come keep a lot of that information and tell everybody where they can find that.
Right now, it's called bnlathletics.com. It's mostly centric to Bedford North Lawrence, but we cover whoever BNL plays. I try to keep track of in just about every sport. So if you want to know information about BNL or whatever teams they're playing or have played or will play, you'll see a lot of information there.
But Justin is very versed in high school basketball across the board. Trust me on that. And this weekend, as you said, Justin, a lot of showcasing of talent up in Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Every game is going to be great. Right, starting with the 1A game. You got some great teams in that, in Bar Reeve, and I saw them play last week, but that's going to be great games all day long.
There's a couple of games that I'm really intrigued by, and one of them is the Class A game. You've got number 1, Fort Wayne Blackhawk, who's 27-2, and number 2, Bar Reeve, who's 26-2, and they played each other during the regular season, which is unusual because of the distance involved. But Fort Wayne Blackhawk won that game 76-68 in overtime in late December. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup. Blackhawk leads the state in scoring right about 80 points a game, and they win by about 26 points per game. They lead the state in winning margin. So it'll be interesting to see if Bar Reeve in the rematch can keep up with Blackhawk. Blackhawk has one of the better players in the state, Frankie Davidson. He was named to the Supreme 15 All-State team yesterday. He's averaging about 21 points and 11 rebounds. And so Bar Reeve has their hands full. But I really am intrigued by this because Bar Reeve, the classic small school, going for the big title. They won it in 2015. Of course, now this year, a new coach with Josh Thompson, who was a runner-up as a player and as an assistant coach, and now he's going for a state title as a head coach. And he's got a challenge in his own household because his daughter, JC, was a member of Bar Reeve's volleyball championship team that won, and she's kind of giving it to him that, hey, I'm the only one in the house with the blue ring, so he's got to keep up.
And then, of course, another game that you're intrigued by, the 3A game involving Silver Creek.
Yes, the Silver Creek, I've got a chance to see them several times. Bedford North Lawrence played them this year, of course, and I was familiar with Brandon Hoffman and his program at Silver Creek during my years with the Courier-Journal, and a great guy and runs a classy program. And they're making their first trip to the state championship after several years of having a lot of talent coming close. This year they finally made it, and I'm really happy to see that. They're 24-3, and Culver is 24-3, and this ought to be another really good matchup. These are the top 2 teams in the Sagarin ratings. They weren't necessarily 1-2 in the polls like the 1A game, but these are the top 2 rated teams on the Sagarin computer ratings, and for a reason. I mean, Culver has a really nice player in Trey Galloway, averaging about 16 points a game, and one of their losses was to LaPorte, the big prep school in LaPorte, La Lumiere, and that was an overtime loss. So if they can play with that team, they've got some talent. And Silver Creek has 4 scores in double figures, and one of them is a 6'8" sophomore, Trey Kaufman, who's averaging about 15 points. And they have a veteran guard named Zane Gross, who's been a starter for 4 years, averaging about 16. So they've got a lot of talent, and this will be a very intriguing game to see if Silver Creek can bring home their first state title. Of course, Culver is the defending state champion in 3A.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a matchup, and hopefully we'd love to see Silver Creek do that. That would be incredible, bring that title home to Southern Indiana. Of course, they've got a great player there as well in Trey Kaufman, an IU recruit. So it ought to be a heck of a battle between some great players. And, of course, the 4A game is going to be fun to watch, man. Ben Davis and Carmel, the Juggernauts, some big-time program there. You've got Malloy that's going to Butler. And you got my man DeJuan Jones, man. He's the super freak. That dude can play some ball. He's the big, unmovable mountain.
In the course of my time is covering sports in Indiana, I've seen some of these guys, big, that's what we call space eaters, and definitely DeJuan, he fills that bill for sure. But don't be taken aback by his size, because the kid can play. I mean, he's averaging 18 points, and he's shooting 72% from the field. So when he gets the ball, he knows what to do with it. And but I still think that Carmel. They're ranked number 1 in the state in Sagarin and in 4A, and they were 25-1. I think Carmel probably the favorite there. Of course, Carmel won the regular season game between the two by 10 points, so I gotta think Carmel probably has the favorite tag for that game.
I would say so. Justin, I appreciate you joining us, man. We're looking forward to it. Maybe we'll get together again next week and talk about what happened up there, because it's going to be some fireworks going off.
Oh, there's always something that you don't quite think will happen. You look at all the stats and the numbers, and you predict all these things, and you think you know what's going to happen. Something unusual or what you weren't prepared for will always happen in a game. That's why they play it.
That's what makes it fun. Thanks a lot, Justin. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, you too, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin Sokel, formerly of the Courier-Journal, now with BNLathletics.com. But a lot's going on this weekend, man. Like I said, once Indiana's game, everybody thought it was going to be on Thursday, and it got moved to Saturday. And so now you got the state championships going on, and then it's a noon game, so you got people from around the state. That makes it difficult for them to get here if they're interested in going to the state championships. It's going to be a hectic day, man. And then the students in Indiana, you got to make sure that they get involved, because they're a very intricate and important part of this tournament for Indiana. The crowd being involved, that's why you get to play at home. You want to use that as your advantage. Jack, you're a student still. What's the feeling amongst the students and with the team in the NIT?
A lot of disappointment, to be frankly honest. I mean, people thought that this was a team that, obviously, as most people around the state thought, that it was going to be a team in the NCAA tournament, possibly a squad that could win a couple of games in the NCAA tournament. But, IU Athletics, which great by them, giving out free tickets, really trying to make it an incentive to get people to the game. So the noon tip hurts. It also hurts that it's the same day and same time as Little 500 qualifications. So I'm not sure if they'll get quite as many students as they got on Tuesday night against St. Francis. But the fact that it's free and the fact that it's an Indiana home game, and a lot of people don't get to go to a lot of Indiana home games because those usually cost money, will definitely get some people in the building from the student population.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movements of tickets being given away, which is very cool. That's awesome. Martha the Mop Lady on Twitter has been kind of spearheading that. So hopefully that continues to go well. A lot of people getting to see some games that never been inside Assembly Hall, so that's cool. Definitely your opportunity, because there's definitely going to be plenty of seats and inexpensively as well. So lots going on. I forgot about the little 500 trials. Man, there's a ton going on this weekend, and a lot of fighting for the eyes, for the fans' eyes. So we'll see. Hopefully they can get a crowd in there because I tell you, they're going to need it. This Arkansas team is not coming here to just show up. They're coming here to win. They already had to go on the road to Providence without their best player, mind you, and they won handily, 84-72. Meanwhile, Indiana was struggling to get by St. Francis at home. Understandably, Indiana's probably not up for that game as they should have been, like they weren't up for Ohio State as they should have been. But the deal that's the deal. The games are here. You got to play. So hopefully they can show up because they're going to have to against Arkansas. Arkansas is a very athletic, very talented team. Obviously, they've shown that. They beat Indiana already in Fayetteville, 73-72, again, like I said earlier, what seems like eons ago. But they're a very physical team, very active around the rim. And I remember watching that game thinking how active they were. They seemed like they were just sending message after message, dunking, grabbing rebounds, out-rebounding Indiana, just really, I don't want to say pushing them around, but that kind of was my first visual of, say, Justin Smith after hearing about how prolific he was going to be with his 48-inch vertical leap, and I see him get blocked 2 or 3 times in that game, and I'm like, that's not a good sign. But we'll find out as Arkansas comes into town here for the NIT on Saturday.
This will be a great test to see how far Indiana has come throughout the course of the season when it comes to taking care of the basketball and handling pressure. Because Indiana, for long portions of that first game, Arkansas is going to press a lot. They embraced the whole 40 minutes of hell type thing back from the 90s. And Indiana really struggled against that full court pressure the first matchup. A lot of that was because Rob Fennessy was out for long stretches of that game with foul trouble. But even when he was in the game, that was honestly the only time all year where I thought Rob Fennessy looked like a freshman and was rattled by full court pressure. We've seen Indiana, especially Fennessy, grow since that point. The game at Illinois is obviously a big moment in my mind where they handled Illinois' pressure defense the entire game, and Fennessy played his best game of his career in Indiana so far. But just seeing it bookended from the first Arkansas game to what will happen in Bloomington tomorrow, if Indiana's able to take care of the ball, that's a moment of clear, tangible progress in a 4-month span in one area that you can say, okay, they are getting better under Archie Miller.
Absolutely. I agree, Jack. Jack Grossman, our intern from IU, is in with us today, sitting in the studio. Hey, we got a lot coming up. Todd Leary's on the show. Drew Davis is going to join us next. We're going to talk about some recruiting information to see what Indiana could be looking at next year, some little tidbits of information. And, of course, like I said, Todd Leary joins us. We'll preview tomorrow's game against Arkansas with Todd. So stay tuned. A lot more coming up right here. We'll be back with Indiana Sports Beat right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you can fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Yeah, welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday as we try to get your weekend off to a great start. Jim Coyle with you as always. Todd, Leary on the show today. Right now, though, we're joined by our good friend Drew Davis from Peaks.com. Drew, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, Jim. How about you?
Good. Just getting ready for the weekend. Tons of action. The Indiana women's team actually in action tonight at 7 o'clock. They're out west in Oregon as they'll take on Texas. That's on ESPN, too, and hopefully Indiana can pull a win out. They've had a great season, Coach Terry Moore and Ali Patberg and the rest of that group. A great year for them, Drew.
Yeah, they've, been able to get back to the tournament for the first time in, I think, 3 or 4 years. I'm not sure exactly on how many it's been, but, it's a big step for them to be able to get back into the big dance, and we'll see if they'll be able to build on it, tonight, and it would certainly be huge for their program if they could.
Absolutely. Indiana, of course, playing in the NIT, and as we're talking a lot about using this for next season, and speaking of next season, recruiting-wise, with the loss of Keon Brooks heading to Kentucky, what are some of the prospects? I know that I saw Rick Smith's son out of Valpo, maybe a grad transfer. Is that any kind of a possibility?
Yeah, he's a guy that, IU may tap the brakes on or look at, we'll have to see on that. But he's certainly, I guess you could call him a candidate for IU to look at. I think he posted something like 12 points a game last year, decent rebound numbers. He's a 7-footer. So, IU may need some more size and for the front court, and he would certainly provide that. But it would also be neat because you got to think about Rick Smith and Dale Davis played together for the Pacers in that front court, and if Derek Smith were to end up at Indiana, you'd be getting the Trace Jackson Davis, Derek Smith's front court kind of be turning back the clock to the Pacers from the 90s, and that's what it would look like for IU in the front court, which would be kind of ironic at the same time with Trace and Derek potentially playing together.
It would be pretty amazing. It'd be kind of a cool thing as well. And along those lines, Tim texts in, are there any reports of any recruits showing up for the Arkansas game tomorrow on official or unofficial visits? That's from Tim.
I have not heard of any recruits that will be in attendance for that. Would it be in the NIT? I'm not sure if they'll have any visitors in or not, because sometimes coaches, if they're in the postseason, they don't like to even mess with that, and they don't. Sometimes if it's the NIT, they're going to look at it like, hey, it's the NIT do we really want to have a recruit in for a visit, during the NIT?
Absolutely. It's completely understandable. What about remaining targets for Indiana in the 2019 season as they look to try to bolster this roster for next year? They're going to have to add something. They still need to add some shooting. They're going to need to add some power down low. They need some stuff, man.
Yeah, they certainly could use some pieces in a number of different areas. And with the grad transfer market being an area that Indiana may also check in on, they still have a couple of 2019 targets remaining. Probably, I'd say Harlan Beverly would probably be the best, chance they have. Harlan is, not thrilled with the way the style of play is in the Big Ten, but I should say those around him aren't. But he's liked what he's seen from Indiana down the stretch in terms of how they played and the style of basketball they played over the last 4, 5, 6 games, and that's certainly a positive sign. And then you also have a 6'4" shooting guard in Lester Quiones, which is probably more of a long shot, but he can really play, can really put the ball in the basket, and he'd be a huge get for Indiana. But right now it's not looking like it's going to go Indiana's way. And those are your kind of two guard prospects, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with those two guys and what Indiana's able to do there. And then there's another grad transfer I keep my eye on would be Justin Pierce from William & Mary. Indiana hasn't reached out directly to him yet, but he's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if we see a report that Indiana has inquired about him. He was a first or a third-team All-CAA guy at William & Mary. He had 50 phone calls within his first hour being in the transfer portal. Heard from a lot of big schools. He's a 6'7", hybrid guard, hybrid guard and forward. Shoot it at a solid level, but he's got a little bit of an edge to his game, and he can really play.
Indiana could definitely use some firepower like that. They're going to have to, because they're obviously losing Juwan Morgan and Romeo Langford at the minimum here, and which is basically the bulk of their offense. There has been the bulk of their offense for the season, probably 60%, a good portion, but back and forth. But they're going to have to replace that for next season, and I mean, guys are going to have to step up and fill that role, and I think that they may have to. Any thoughts of looking the JUCO route, or is the grad transfer the best way that they want to go in order to keep those scholarships in cycle better?
I wouldn't rule out anything. Archie, he's always going to constantly be looking for talent, whether it be the JUCO rank, the transfer rank, or the prospects out of high school. He's going to always look at all, explore all options, and with the grad transfers, Indiana could get a piece and bring in a guy that we have no idea who it is right now. It's completely off the radar. That's just the nature of the transfer market. It seems to develop more as you get closer to April and then May, when those guys start to take their visits. And that's why it's important to save up your visits if you're a coach, so you can have guys on campus, pro officials, if they're a grad transfer and want to come see the program or campus in more depth, and that's always good to have those visits. But with the JUCO ranks, I could see them potentially taking a guy, but I think they're more interested in the grad transfer rank, because if you take a JUCO guy, they're going to be on scholarship for 2 years, and they would have to be really sold on the guy to take him for more than a one-year scenario.
And this is a question that may be difficult for you to answer because I didn't prepare you for it. But as we look back over the grad transfers from last year, who, if you can think of someone off the top of your head, who was probably the most successful pickup by a team through that grad transfer market, or a couple of grad transfer successes from last year?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I want to say the point guard from the transfer to Baylor from Yale, Makai Mason. He's a really good player at Yale, and he is at Baylor, and he's been real solid there. I have to say he was probably one of the better ones, and just the impact he made on their program.
And, a little bit of irony I mentioned earlier. Last night I watched the Villanova game in which they had a tough game with St. Mary's, and all the time I'm laughing thinking, Evan Fitzner would be playing Villanova in the NCAA right now had he not transferred to IU.
I know. You sit back and you're Evan Fitzner, and you're looking at that. I don't know if he has any regrets. He made that decision partially because of playing time as well, and his role within the team. But they even mentioned him during the broadcast at one point as a guy that a piece they had to replace, and you have to sit there and think maybe what could have been if you're Evan Fitzner at least. Man,
off topic here a little bit, but Tom Izzo yesterday goes off on Aaron Henry, former Indianapolis product, but boy, he certainly seems to be in Izzo's doghouse, man.
Yeah, Aaron Henry is a guy that's usually well liked by his coaches. He's usually a guy that's kind of a lunch pail guy. But I didn't get a chance to see exactly what Aaron Henry did, but basically Izzo was saying, he was like, my bad, and Izzo was saying, at this time of year, if you don't sprint back on defense, and it's my bad. He's like, yeah, it is your bad. I'm gonna let you hear about it. To Izzo's point, I don't really have as big of a problem with it as some people. I think Izzo's just coaching hard. It's the NCAA tournament. His team's a 2 seed. They're struggling with a 15 seed. He's not happy. He wants to make a point, and I understand what he's trying to say there. And I don't have a problem with it. I think that's just Tom Izzo coaching his team hard, trying to hold a kid accountable, and a lot of people are making way too big of a deal out of that, and that's just how Izzo is, to be honest.
A lot of great games yesterday, and then today. What are some of the matchups in the NCAA tournament today that you're looking forward to?
A game that I'm kind of interested in today is Liberty and Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State could be on upset alert in that one. I'm not sure what Mississippi State team will show up. They're kind of inconsistent sometimes. Their team likes shoot the three ball a lot, have mixed bag results, and Liberty's a team that can really shoot it as well. And I think that'll be a very intriguing matchup. And just looking back over the course today, I'm drawing a blank on other matchups, but that's the one that really stands out to me.
Well, you got as far as the Big Ten goes, Drew, you got Iowa and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 3.5 point favorite.
Yeah, that was a matchup. Now that you mentioned it, whenever I saw it come up on the screen on Selection Sunday, I was just thinking, that's a really bad matchup for Iowa. Kind of a clash in styles. Iowa's not the best defensive team. They struggle to guard people, and they've had to go to zone all year because of it at times. And, I don't think this matchup goes well at all for Iowa. I think Cincinnati's too physical. I think Cincinnati's a lot tougher, and I think it throws Iowa out of rhythm, and that's a win for Cincinnati.
I'll tell you a tough matchup that I see is Ohio State has got Iowa State today. Iowa State is a 5.5 point favorite. They're playing really well right now.
Yeah, Iowa State has a bunch of different guards that they've relied on, whether it's Wendell Wigginton, Taylor Horton-Tucker, or the other two, Halliburton, and I have drawn a blank on the last one, but they have some guards that can play, and Ohio State has Caleb Wesen inside, and that's the matchup that Ohio State has to exploit. They will have a chance to win this game. They have to get Caleb Wesen the ball early and often, and if they're able to do that, they'll have a chance to win that game. And I think it could be a very interesting matchup between those two teams.
The Big Ten's gone 5-0 thus far. Wisconsin, the other Big Ten team on the docket today, as they take on Oregon. Wisconsin's a 1 point favorite in that game. Oregon's that's a tough matchup, man.
Yeah, to an extent. I've seen a lot of people picking Oregon in this game, and I guess for me that's kind of a head scratcher a little bit. I look at an Oregon team out of the very, very mediocre Pac-12 this year that was just simply not good, and they won their conference tournament. And yeah, they did play better down the stretch, but looking over the overall body of work, Wisconsin's a much better basketball team. I think they defend without fouling. They can establish Ethan Happ. They have some shooting as well with Trice and the other big fellows. They play down low, and I just think Wisconsin will win this game. I'm not really buying into the Oregon upset that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, we'll see. I was kind of yesterday. I saw that Syracuse lost their point guard. I think we talked about this, but I raced to. I'm in Drew's group bracket for brackets, and I raced to get to my brackets before they started and changed my pick from Syracuse to Baylor, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, that was a good change on your part. I did not do that. I wanted to stick with Syracuse. I thought they would be able to pull that game out against Baylor. Baylor not traditionally the most disciplined offensive team, but Scott Drew is a very good coach. But I just thought that maybe the 2-3 zone would be able to propel Syracuse to a win. But clearly, I was wrong on that.
Drew, I appreciate you, man. It's got a great weekend, a lot going on. Have a great time, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, man. I'll talk to you on Monday, and enjoy some basketball this weekend.
You as well. Drew Davis from Peaks.com joining us, as he does always. Thank you so much. Brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry. Serving Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let doctors Jay and Roger Reynolds take care of your family. Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. We'll get Justin in there for his next appointment. But we got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. The great Todd Leary joins us next. Keep it right here. We're back after this.
They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call rock and roll.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you can fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch specials. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small, your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural. You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday. Thanks a lot for joining us. Had a great day so far. Big weekend coming up for Indiana. Lots going on. The women's team on the road tonight in Oregon. The NCAA tournament at 7 o'clock against Texas. The men's team plays tomorrow at noon at home against Arkansas. And we are joined by the incomparable Todd Leary. Our week is now complete.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. How's it going for you, sir?
Oh, it's good.
I know the NIT is foreign to you, someone like yourself who played through an era that was nothing but excellence. Unfortunately, Indiana finds himself in a position this year of playing in the National Invitational Tournament. They were able to get by St. Francis, and tomorrow they've got a real test coming up, man.
Yeah, they do. And it's a good thing they get to play a team that they played early in the year. And, it'll be a little bit of a scale, be able to judge how they improve throughout the year and, how they adjust to playing another team that, early in that game, I thought Indiana struggled. That was one of their, if it wasn't their first road game, it was one of the first road games. And, this time of year, it's tough to go play in that NIT. You're wrong, though. I did play in the NIT. We actually won the NIT one year. It just was in the preseason. So,
I was going to say, man, you got my mind to thinking. You got my mind to thinking. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. These guys went to the dig on Final Four. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, we were fortunate enough to, all of my years, make the NCAA tournament. It really wasn't even a question. So, it's tough. Like I did the radio one year when Indiana played the NIT, and it's just a different atmosphere. The Assembly Hall feels different, and it's not the same thing. There's no doubt, but I really thought Indiana did a good job battling through. The first half the other night, I thought they did a good job of being able to come back out and in that second half, kind of get focused and get excited a little bit. And, there's a game to play. So when you throw the ball up and the lights are on, I thought Indiana did a good job of coming out after halftime and getting focused and playing well.
Yeah, and it's obviously tough disappointment, great disappointment. Obviously, everyone would like to have been playing in the NCAA tournament. Of course, the players want to play in the NCAA tournament, and it's tough to get up for when you're that disappointed, and then you're playing a team that you've never heard of, probably.
Right.
That this is their Super Bowl, man. This is their NCAA Final Four to them. They get to come into Assembly Hall, and they're going to play Indiana, and so they're going to give it everything they have. And then you move to Arkansas. Hell, they've already beat Indiana once.
Right.
So that they're looking at this salivating.
Yep. I mean, it's their opportunity to say that they beat Indiana twice in a year, and those guys from Arkansas will look at this as a big challenge, and they get to come into Assembly Hall now, and I'm sure they've seen it on TV a bunch of times, just watching games as they've grown up. So you're right. I mean, other teams look at it as a great opportunity, and sure, Arkansas is disappointed they didn't make the tournament as well, but once this is kind of a consolation prize for them to be able to travel to Assembly Hall and play in a place that I know they've seen on TV a bunch of times. So there's some motivation for the other teams that Indiana doesn't have. But, I hopefully just getting past that first half of that first game and really the first game overall, being able to put that behind you now, there is something to work for. And work for that trip to get to go to New York and play in Madison Square Garden again. And, there's something to play for now. It's just hopefully Indiana's able to come out and, match the intensity that I do think Arkansas have, because I'm sure they're looking forward to the game.
Hey, Todd, it's Jack Grossman. Arkansas, of course, led by Daniel Gafford all year. He was phenomenal in the first matchup. Not going to play tomorrow, though, as he looks forward to the NBA draft. How does that change Indiana's game plan, knowing that Arkansas's alpha male isn't going to be available?
I doubt it changes their game plan a ton. Now, it may change their game plan as far as how they, how they would have reacted when he had the ball, whether they double teamed or whether they took it out of his hands or, whether they deny the ball to him completely or whatever. His particular time of touching the ball, it'll change that a little bit, but it's not like Indiana will go through a huge change and say, okay, well, without X player, we're going to play a 2-3 zone, or without somebody, we're going to go to a 1-3-1 trap or all man-to-man. I mean, Indiana's going to play what they've been working on, what they've done all year. I mean, they'll be mostly man-to-man. The game plan won't change a ton. Maybe just when that particular player had the ball or did some, or was whether there was a certain trap or double team they were going to do. But it doesn't change the overall game plan of what Indiana's trying to accomplish.
And I think about that first game, Todd, when I watched that, I remember thinking, golly, Arkansas was just super active around the rim, aggressive. They were really hawking rebounds, and it seemed to catch Indiana on their heels a little bit. Deron Davis was not the guy yet that he could be as far as health-wise, and they needed everything they could get. And they'll need that again, because even though they don't have Gafford, they're going to come in obviously knowing that and playing probably a little harder, but they really brought it the last time.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the first part of that game, I can remember thinking it looked like they were playing it fast forward, and Indiana was kind of stuck in the sand. But they came out and did a great job in the second half of being on the road, playing a true road game like that, and having having a chance to. They actually should have won. I mean, that little short arming, that tip in at the end. I mean, that's probably, it might have been the difference in whether they went to the NCAA tournament or not. So, it's a game that I hope Indiana can. Match that intensity. Arkansas is going to have a little bit to play for. They're getting to play in an arena. It's like Cameron Indoor Stadium and Rupp Arena. I mean, they've heard about it or seen it on TV since they were kids. So they've got something to play for. And Indiana is it's just a little bit different. There's still that disappointment, but I do think that there's something that Indiana can come out and play for. And once they got through that first game, like I said, I look forward to them now of being focused a little bit more, and playing a full 40-minute game, not having to come out at halftime and readjust.
Funny thing is, statistically, Indiana played pretty well that game, with one glowing exception. They shot the ball well, 47%. They actually shot 40% from behind the line. They had 8 of 20, but they had 18 turnovers in that game, which obviously is the killer. They also had Romeo Langford, who scored 22 points, which he did not play against St. Francis. We don't know yet if he's going to play. I expect that he will, because of the added a few days of rehab, but we don't know yet. But I think they're going to need Romeo. They're going to need all hands on deck for this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you in that regard. I mean, I do think that that it would be nice to have him. I don't necessarily think it'd be the right thing for Romeo to play. And if he doesn't play, I as an Indiana fan, I wouldn't not only not blame him, I would think it was the right decision for him not to play.
Now, is that because of that if he's injured, or because of his future?
Because of his future. I mean, let's be for real. If that was anyone's son, and he had the opportunity of being drafted in the NBA draft in the top 10 or 15, 3 months from now, I don't know anyone that would think that it was a smart decision overall for him to come out and play in this game. Now, if it's an NCAA tournament and a guy set out, Romeo or anyone from any other team, if those guys set out for that reason, then that's a different story. But in the NIT and in this situation, I don't think it would be the right decision for Romeo to play. And from Indiana's perspective, if he's not going to be back next year, which there's a 99% chance in my mind that he won't be back, it's the opportunity I want those minutes to go to someone else that is going to play. I want those guys to get the experience and play against a team that's playing the speed that Arkansas is going to be at, and with that kind of pressure. I would look for those minutes to go to somebody else.
Todd, the turnovers were brought up a minute ago, and especially if Romeo doesn't play, you have some guys that aren't always one of the primary ball handlers handling the ball. Obviously, Rob Fennessy's your point guard, so that's set in stone, but relying on Devontae Green, Al Durham more. How does Indiana try to do a better job against the turnovers than they did in the first matchup?
Well, I mean, that's Arkansas's MO. That's what they've been known as since, the early 90s when they were 40 minutes of hell or whatever they called it. Those guys are known for putting pressure on you. They're trying to speed you up, and they're trying to get you to play at a pace that you're not really accustomed to. And that, Indiana gets down and sets their offense. And you can see guys, they almost take a deep breath and get to where they're lined up, and then they start that movement and start playing, start their weave or whatever they're going to start the offense with. And Arkansas tries to not let you do that. They try to put enough pressure on you that they're forcing you to start quicker and go faster than what you're used to and what you're comfortable with. So that's just their MO, and that's what they do. And, if you come out and make some shots and get a lead, it's much more difficult for them to be able to do that. Now, if you're playing from behind and they start to speed you up, it works pretty well, and they do a good job. That's what they've built their teams on for years, and it's a system that works a lot of times. But if you get out to a lead on them, it generally doesn't work. They're not able to do that because if you're going down and scoring, about the last thing they want to do is get you to go score quicker. So, if Indiana can get off to a good start, which is not Indiana's MO, they've struggled and fallen behind. If they fall behind, those turnovers tend to snowball. Once you get a couple of them going, Arkansas is going to ramp the pressure up even more, and you're going to hopefully be able to withstand it. But if not, you're just going to continue and dig a deeper hole and keep turning it over.
Dr. J texted in. He agrees with you on Romeo. Says, as stupid as it sounds, they got to get those guys to learn how to play without him anyway, so we might as well start now.
Dr. J, how's he doing early this morning? Getting ready to work on some people in the office?
That means you get a free cleaning for Todd.
Well, as long as he agreed with me, we're fine. If he disagreed with me, we'd have a problem.
Going forward, Indiana can use this. And for the guys that are coming back, I mean, they seem to be bought in. Even the guys that aren't going to be here, Jawan, the talk in the locker room was, hey, if guys are suiting up, they better be ready to play. We come to win this. Deron Davis, I think he's going to be a leader for this team next year, vocally, but it may be somewhat right now, but he's the same way. He goes, hey, you better be ready to play. Hey, we're going to win, and we plan on winning. And that's the mindset that they have to have across the board because they have an opportunity to use this because they're in a situation that they are in, not being in the NCAA tournament. Well, you have the opportunity now to practice more, to play more games, and to get the team better moving forward and to help continue to change this culture. And maybe this is a part of that process.
Yeah, and you and I talked about it on your show several times this year about we were kind of surprised that the rotation wasn't a little bit deeper, that Indiana didn't use some guys down the bench a little bit in some situations. And this is that opportunity, I believe, for them. Now, I don't know anything anyone else doesn't know right now. I mean, Romeo may come out and play 40 minutes for what I know, but I don't think that would be the case. And then I wouldn't like I said, I would think it would be a good situation for Indiana if he doesn't play. He should go to the NBA draft, in my opinion. I mean, you can't turn that money down and you can't turn that contract away. And just too much risk of an injury or something along those lines. So I think it's that using those minutes for other guys, the guys we would have hoped, we thought we were going to see throughout the season, playing some substantial minutes in big games against good quality, fast teams. This is that opportunity, in my opinion, for them to be able to do that and us to see them.
So I take it that you disagreed with the piece by Doyle, Greg Doyle in the Indy Star.
I live in Paducah, Kentucky, so
I know that.
I didn't get Greg Doyle's article this week, so no.
There's something called the Internet, Todd. We're going to have to introduce you to it.
Oh, really?
To the Internet.
Yeah, that's cool. I've heard about it.
He wrote a piece that he definitely said that Romeo should absolutely come back for another season.
Yeah, I mean, that's just going to be me disagreeing 100% in that regard. I mean, if I've used this analogy for a long time, and obviously I wasn't a player that was in that position, but if NASA wanted a student at Indiana to come and leave after his freshman year and come work at NASA and get paid millions of dollars to do it because he was that smart, I don't think too many people would say, well, he needs to go back to Indiana for another year and get smarter. It doesn't make any sense. The guy has the opportunity to, his end goal in life, my assumption, is to play in the NBA. I mean, that's what all of us growing up that play basketball and love it, that's what we strive to get to. And I'm assuming Romeo's the same way. And if he has that opportunity to do it right now, and there is a risk that he would not have that opportunity a year from now, given a tragic injury or something to happen, how could you pass that up? Like, I don't know what the argument could possibly be to pass that up. If he's going to move, if he moved up 3 or 4 places in the draft order, probably means, $50,000 to him. So you're risking $50,000 to zero. I mean, you could be getting nothing a year from now and for the rest of your career. So I don't know how someone could honestly make that argument.
$1990. Those are $1990, Todd. It's probably $1 million for each position.
Whatever. So, but you're risking the difference. You know what I mean? You get zero if he doesn't come out. So
absolutely. People are so hung up on. Yeah, people are so hung up on saying, he's not ready because he hasn't lived up to their expectations this season. And I don't think that they can grasp the fact that the NBA drafts on potential because they see what he can be very soon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I said this for many years, but I said it with you a bunch of times on the shows this year, is the NBA is a completely different animal. It is not – there are a lot of players, I mean, that are really good college players that'll never play a second in the NBA because it is a different animal. It's completely different skills that are needed, and the whole game is just approached differently. And Romeo has something that NBA scouts will 1,000% notice, and his ability to finish at the rim is different than what you see in other guys who are 6'6" like Romeo and probably can shoot better from long range than Romeo and all these things. But when he gets around the rim, he finishes different than a lot of other guys finish. And there's not too many guys across the country that you can say that about. And so he has a different skill set than what, the average fan, if they're just going to look at him and say, well, he only shoots 34% from behind the three-point line and his jump shot will get better. Well, if he doesn't have to go to class all the time and he's got a guy working directly with him from whatever team he ends up being on, his jump shot's going to get a lot better, a lot quicker if he goes to the NBA. So that's what the NBA will draft on. And, I don't blame Indiana fans. I would love for him to come back for another year. Believe me. I just don't think it would be the right decision for him as a kid. So I'm sure not going to ridicule him or think he's making a bad decision or being selfish or anything along those lines. Now, if he skipped an NCAA tournament game, I would have a totally different opinion. But being it's the NIT, I do not blame him at all, and I actually think it's the right decision for him not to play. But I don't know anything. He may play. He may play.
We'll see. Todd Leary, the great Todd Leary. Thank you enough, brother. Appreciate you as always.
You got it. Thanks for the call. Have a good weekend.
You bet. You as well. Todd Leary joining us as always. Got to thank Jack Grossman, our intern, for joining us today as well. For Justin Kalen, we got plenty more coming up. Keep it tuned right here on the weekend. For the Hoosier Basketball, I'm Jim Coyle. I'll see you on the radio.
The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love. Like taking those perfect New Year, New You portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
It's the best way to stay connected to everyone you'll heart most in 2019. So get ready to fall in love with iPhone XR on T-Mobile, the most loved in wireless. Call 1-800-T-Mobile to learn more or visit a store today. The iPhone XR is here at T-Mobile, and there's a whole lot to love. Like taking those perfect New Year, New You portrait mode selfies you're going to share.
Nice.
It's the best way to stay connected to everyone you'll heart most in 2019. So get ready to fall in love with iPhone XR on T-Mobile, the most loved in wireless. Call 1-800-T-Mobile to learn more or visit a store today.